All right, guys. Listen, this is the eve of Independence Day in Sierra Leone. I know, say right now, of course, already it's Independence Day in Sierra Leone. But for those of us in the diaspora, of course, it's a little over 8:35 now. Right, I can go about my business. So don't worry about me. Well, I don't mind if there's any background noise. I just feel for sitting at the family room and talk today about this because it's time for reflection. So first of all, what I want to do. Let we discuss because on all those I don't tell point blank as Sierra Leoneans, there's nothing to celebrate about Independence Day. Nothing to celebrate. 64 years later, nothing to celebrate. So I just want to establish that fact. We not make no progress as we did so like Eritrea in Sierra Leone. Matter of fact, we're going backwards. Everything. Politically, economically, socially, everything. I mean, we get a lot of people with mental health in that country today, the Chris Tomboku, because people are frustrated. Depression is on the rise, anxiety. Families they go to bed, without food. Some man get for ration in food if they get for eat one time a day, or if they for wait for eat a net so in Balena go grumble all net at least they able for sleep. This is what is actually happening. We see the kush, the drug epidemic all over the country. Young people with no hope. They've given up. These are the things that are happening. So, but before we even go any further, I'm gonna play this video and this is the Day of Independence, at least the commemoration of independence itself in Sierra Leone. Let's share this video with Una, and then we'll take it from there. But let's see this video.
There was a holiday feeling in Freetown, capital of Sierra Leone, as Independence Day drew near. Divine service on the previous Sunday in St. George's Cathedral was a thanksgiving at which the Archbishop of York officiated. An air of rejoicing could be sensed everywhere. In the colony and protectorate of Sierra Leone, there has been none of the strife which elsewhere has sometimes preceded the granting of independence. Visible on all sides was the joy of people welcoming their new status, happy that they would soon be standing on their own feet. But there was no resentment of their past colonialism. Long affection between the British and the Creoles ensured a smooth changeover. Evidence that Independence Day was rapidly approaching was the arrival of the Duke of Kent. His Royal Highness represented the Queen. He was welcomed by Sir Maurice Dorman, the Governor of Sierra Leone, who presented Lady Dorman. Premier Sir Milton Margai presented the many important people who had come from all over the colony to pay their respects. The Guard of Honor was paid the compliment of a proper inspection by a professional soldier. The Duke was enthusiastically acclaimed all the way from the airport to the city boundary of Freetown. As far back as 1799, Freetown received its royal charter. Now, the mayor and aldermen welcomed the Duke with a loyal address and presented him with a gold key bearing the crest of the city. The forms of British municipal government are punctiliously observed. After that ceremony, the Duke drove to Government House, where he stayed for the next few days. Next day, there was a regatta, mainly an affair of canoe racing, with the type of craft used in unloading merchant ships at places on the West African coast where there are no harbors. Not all the fun was on the water. At Brookfields Recreation Ground, there was a display of traditional dancing.
You know, guys, the fact is, all of them people here want to see, so a lot of them not there again, but if then they say they are disappointed. I mean, because again, it's only 64 years ago. Some of these, them picking their way we see, so I mean, they were probably, very early 20s, or, I mean, before, teens, probably 15, 16, 17, who knows. If then this, if they are old people now, I'm sure they are disappointed for going through everything that they went through just because of independence. And then we look back 64 years, still today in that country, will not get steady electricity, will not get clean drinking water. People in they die of typhoid, which do because the water is filled with human feces. So there is nothing to go off of. There is nothing to be proud of independence. And that is why, shamefully so, the government, I see them put out a press release and they made it very clear that, they just want everybody on Saturday, Friday, yesterday, Muslims go to mosque and pray. And then, Sunday, tomorrow, of course, go to church and just pray. Because they know there is nothing to show, there is nothing to celebrate. Nobody should be proud of anything when it comes to what is actually happening in Sierra Leone at this point in time. When you take other countries like the Singapore and all these other nations that are moving faster than anything else, you'll see exactly what people like myself have been talking about. We were all basket cases back then, but today Singapore is a first world country. Singapore is a first world country and they get one of the best airports in the world. One of the best airports in the world. And these are the things what they say. But look aside, we don't fast forward later. All these years. Nothing. Sierra Leone was known for, the first university for Arabic College. It's there, the ruins of that building. Then they for still they bring millions of dollars when it comes to tourism. Successively, governments are able for even tap into that tourism, area. They for let them make billions of dollars every year from tourism alone because we get all the relics them that we can showcase. When you talk about all of those things, and this is why people like myself, we're here on social media to talk about these issues so people go open up their eyes and understand that, again, it's about time they stop this political party loyalty, tribe, region over the interests of the country. Look at where we are. It is a sad state of affairs. And then independence don't come 64 years. And this would have left Panther with a count back 120 years, nothing to show. America don't need independence over 230 plus years now. Look at the United States of America today. It's flourishing. Forget the politics as it is, but the nation is still moving. Look at all the infrastructural development. There's nothing you can say. Communities are neat, decent, and clean. At least people have access to clean drinking water, 24-hour electricity. But where you talk, they say, hey, boy, independence, I just said yesterday. These are the problems and these are the things. And look at now, Usai, we did it like a today. What we go for talk about? Look at the state of affairs of we young man and young woman in the country. Where's the educational system? Now Sierra Leone education is down the doldrums. Nobody even value the education of Sierra Leone anymore. It is terrible. It is sad. We get elections, the results, up till this day, we not get the results of the elections. So instead of we're making progress democratically, because if we don't make progress democratically, then there is no way we'll go able to solve some of the problems that we have as a nation. And these are the things we say to you guys. 2018, Marabia was handed over power peacefully and quietly. Everybody move on about their business. We hold an election again in 2023. Where is the election result? Election result not there. Then you get a segment of the opposition. They say they win the elections, but they're going to move on. We're not making progress. We're going backwards. And this kind of a backwardness where we go, so this is like over 100 steps back. Where we take one step forward, we take 100 steps back. That's how terrible this is. And that is why we as a nation, this is about time for reflect and ask yourself fundamental questions. When alone let this blind loyalty to political party, no, not they blindly support political leaders there. Let us stand on the side of democracy. The leaders that stand with us on the side of democracy are the leaders we should stand with. The leader that will stand with we for protect with freedoms, rights to free speech, rights to protest. Those are the leaders who will stand with, because then they respect the Constitution. The Constitution is everything. The Constitution is not just an ornament. Not to where you hang no more like Christmas tree, where Christmas ten come. It is operational. And we have to use the Constitution, but people are not even using the Constitution. They use the Constitution where it favor them. We've not made any progress 64 years later in independence. But people like myself and all of my other brothers and sisters that are on social media, that are advocating, that are talking about these issues, one day history is going to judge us. Pikine will go for the CDM video there and say, hey, at least this person is able to talk. And we're going to keep talking until at least one day we know the action that should be taken will be taken for redeem that country. We don't see Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traore is doing his thing. We see how they come after her. We see the one for killer, more kind of thing. Because they know say in Africa, the moment you get leader, we're ready for start with the people. That's it. So independence tomorrow, 64 years, April 27th, 2025. They make them 64 years old independence. Go look at your hospital and they like today. Say today, nurse they get paid properly. You go to hospital, you get for pay for the paper. Your Auditor General report, they come out. What's in your Auditor General report? They tell we hospital and they get fridge. But matter be the fly. Look at it in Italy, Pope in Berlin. They fly, they spend over $7 million every year. They charter private jets. I don't know those planets and people where they live, or then tribalist people, the one where they put the region and then tribe over the interest of the country. But this is again, it's education. Civic education is the key. And this is why people like myself, we're here to talk about these things and make sure, say, we open up the eyes of citizens to let them understand exactly where we're going with this. Because it's sad. Look at Singapore. When we all have a basket case. Singapore, look at the airport bar. What's impossible to tell you about Singapore? Look at that.
Is the best airport in the world. Now, I've flown all. This is the best airport in the world. Now, I've flown all over the globe, and I usually want to get out of the airport as quickly as possible. So to test the title, I spent a day at Singapore's Changi Airport, which was just crowned the world's best for the 12th time.
And we do not even have a flight. You want to land on me?
I toured the gardens, the $1.3 billion lifestyle hub, and the rooftop pool. If airports are filled with people trying to go somewhere else, why did this tiny island nation spend so much money to build this place? And what's it really like to spend a layover here?
Woo.
A lot of the good stuff at Changi is airside, meaning you need to book a flight to see it. But the jewel is landside, so you can visit the giant donut-shaped shopping mall without having a plane ticket, and there are no gates here. It sits between the control tower and Terminal 1. It took 4 years to build and was funded with private investments. If you're airside, the train between Terminal 2 and 3 cuts right through the dome.
After, 3 reports on this one terminal in my lifetime as a reporter, finally get to see it. So it's this side, no? Here goes. It's like the best roller coaster I've ever been on.
Should I switch to Monday CRM? Updating this field is so confusing.
So guys, this is what we're talking about. That's Singapore. 12 years in a row and get the best airport. Now we all be there basket case back in the day with Singapore. Nothing to show. But they don't move on. Waiting to them put the interest of the country at heart. Then get the leaders that will become together and say we're going to move this country forward. When Milton Mugabe get the opportunity, unfortunately he died, 1964. 3 years later after he became the prime minister. In brother Albert Mugabe take over. What think with nepotism, tribalism, tribalization of our institutions, taking away the rights of citizens, them rights to free speech, rights to protest. It just mix up the country, tribalize the military, the police, everything. Now then bring the first school in Sierra Leone, SLPP, Albert Mugabe, the Inganoman, them, Brigadier Lancer, and all of these people. Now they begin to destroy that country. Then Albert Mugabe came, we go past the one-party state system, which was already in parliament, Checker Stevens take up. Then like today, most of the infrastructure in that country in Checker Stevens. You look at the E building, you look at the roads, they will get at least Aberdeen Bridge, Congo Cross Bridge, most of the major infrastructure across that country in Checker Stevens. SLPP get the opportunities, which Albert Mugabe do, that tribalization, and the same thing Marabio can do so like today. We see during the days of the APC and Eskroma, at least CCFK tried. The economy was rising at a rate of 88%. rights to free speech, democracy was restored, civil society organizations then get their rights. And this is why people like myself were pissed off at former President Nkrumah. He set him out, and they kill with people, destroy with democracy, and able for even come out and can't defend them. And say, Bo Wabi was president, not to show this country be there. And allow the people to exercise their rights to free speech. They're in exile now in Nigeria. Even with the exile, the man cannot even speak up. 64 years after independence, what do we have to show, guys? There's nothing there to show. Nothing there to show. We're backwards, not moving anywhere. No progress has been made. And this is why people like myself, we're coming here to talk. So as this Independence Day, so they reflect, it's an opportunity, for let we reflect and make sure, say, we ask ourselves the fundamental question: what do me they do as a citizen, what they do wrong? Why continue for support a political party just based off of the fact that because mina Timini, mina Mende, I come on a bow, Kanema, so therefore mina SLPP, I like what and do nothing, I not go change. So you as a citizen, you get a responsibility for reflect and say enough is enough. Because at the end of the day, these leaders that are destroying the country, they destroy them because they ain't get the power. Now we the people, like we self they get the power for let them continue for destroy. Now I make we country day like I did like today. So 64 years later, independence is around the corner. What we get for show? Nothing. Nothing to show. And we get for always self-accountable as a citizen. When I would dance behind, we see even in recent times, you would think say people are getting better and people are getting sober, but people are becoming more crazier by the day. People just they lost their mind constantly. We are seeing it now within the APC party. Then win elections. Instead of them standing up to say we're going to protect the elections, they say we're moving on to the next elections. Then you have people, the citizens, are actually running behind these so-called flag bearers who want to contest the next elections, even though they know they won the elections. SLPP lost the elections. Marabi lost the elections. Instead of them standing up to defend that democracy so that our nation would move forward, they said, no, we don't want the victory. We're going to move on. But it is the people, you as a citizen, you are responsible for the demise of our nation. For every one of una, where they dance with the politicians they are, when I know they're doing the wrong thing, when I know something they do not correct, when I continue to dance with them. So you have a responsibility as well. And this is the things that we've been saying to you guys. Because if we the people change our attitude and we change our mentality, we all come together and say 64 years after independence, there is nothing to show. Let us as a people come together and say, okay, let's put the region aside, let's put the tribe aside, let's focus. Let we ask about why we not forget electricity. Let us ask ourselves the question, why we not forget 24-hour light? Guinea, Kona, Caribbean, and then get light. You go past soon and then pan body, you go see them get light. Why we for the struggle with electricity? Why we people for the die in the hospital because light not they picking and they die in a hospital them because light not they don't get oxygen. So these are the questions we get for ask ourselves as citizens. And I think so we got for hold ourselves accountable for understand. Say now we they allow them politicians there and the leaders there for continue for make a mockery out of our nations. 64 years after independence, all the Yagba people are Yagba for go get this wonderful independence because we say we want for take care of ourselves. That's the whole essence of the independence. We so want to take care of ourselves. We want to run our affairs. We want to look after everything. We want to make sure so we provide everything for we people. Not all with money for can do and for we, but today we are a donor dependent country. Look at this there and say IMF they chastise this SLPP government. Today donor driven. Why we need money from donors? We don't need money from donors. Ibrahim Traore don't show in a Burkina Faso. Say we don't need money from donors. Tanzania, Magufuli, is showing for say we don't need money from international organizations there. We have what it takes to develop our nation. So Sierra Leoneans, the question is this for you: what are you going to do? What attitude are you going to change? Former President Nkrumah Bika with attitudinal change, where we bring the OGI, Open Government Initiative, which was headed by Ms. Zainab. What all of them and the attitudinal change, let change with mentality as Sierra Leoneans. But oh yeah, the same politicians when they say the same thing, they're not mean what they say, and they kind of want to say let change with attitude, but they feel the same foolishness, the tribal sentiments, and they feel the regional sentiments, the party politics, and they tell the people they say, "How you born this party? We don't left out." They don't believe say there should be a third force, another political party will come and wipe out the SLPP and APC. They say, "Oh no, not them no more." So these are the fundamental questions we have to ask ourselves as citizens because we get the responsibility for ensure say we do the right thing. We have a responsibility as Sierra Leoneans to do the right thing. And we have to ask ourselves as a people, And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, civic education, to teach the people. Because this is the best I can do. Not only responsibility for save and buy. Now we for able for help and support with governments them. But I not owe no other Sierra Leonean responsibility for saying I mean for take care of you, I mean for give you electricity, I mean for give you water. The states get a responsibility for meeting their obligations today. Now we get for call the states for let the states do what they're supposed to do. Just like our members of parliament, that's what the responsibility for go give our water well, that's what the responsibility for go build school for now. That's what the responsibility for go build the roads for now. No, we forget the national budget and the budget for make allocations for all of those kinds of provisions. For we healthcare, how much hospital level build. Therefore, look at communities. They say this community here, they don't they advance so what to for do? What to forget for add to the infrastructure, forget for build more houses. Them not forget take people in a Gambia for can build houses in Sierra Leone, so Sierra Leoneans can go buy them. No, and the government responsibility, but we the people get the responsibility for show up and hold them accountable. And until every Sierra Leonean is woke and understand these basics, we're not going to make any progress. 64 years later, what is there to show? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So we'll go for take this time for reflect and ask yourself the fundamental questions as citizens and say, when is enough going to be enough? We'll go for continue the same thing. Next year, the subsequent year. Today we get to the June 24th, 2023 elections. The result is not there. And Sierra Leoneans are not even worried about that. They don't even ask before that someone they get party today. That is the problem we'll get. But then a carnival. So Mango Depan Party, they say Independence Party. What are we celebrating? Will they celebrate the demise, the death of a brother and sister Depan Kush? Is that what we're celebrating? What are we celebrating? Are we celebrating with brother and sister they sit also their foot and they rotting because of drugs? Are we celebrating the fact that Sierra Leone now the biggest transnational area for the smuggling of cocaine? Now we celebrate for independence? Will they celebrate say Boleos then in Sierra Leone right now? Joseph Lydekas, Jos Lydekas, aka Omar Sharif, where they date Marabio and daughter, Agnes Bio. We in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone get this bad rap across the world for saying that the country this way and they smuggle all the drugs them. Then they arrest people in England, Scotland, Morocco, all over the place with shipments from Sierra Leone through Boleos, destroying our reputation. Sierra Leoneans now therefore be searched when they travel. 64 years after independence, are these the things that we are proud of? What if we celebrate? What are they going to do in a party for saying independence? We go celebrate. That cry for the cry. But you have useless idiots them, then they go become and they support politicians, they support political parties. Just because they throw in a small breadcrumb on the floor, then they eat small thing. So they don't care about the rest of the country because then they get what they forget. This is Africa. This is why Africa backward. These are the same people where they run for car overseas. You can't go plane right now or boat. You say, hey, this boat to car America. These same idiots where they fight for politicians, where they support these political parties, that they force they full up that boat stay in the plane. Because they know that the country is not working for them. I see the other day I share a video with a 12-year-old. Maybe don't reach a point with 12-year-old Pekin. Then they left Sierra Leone now for run for say they want to get greener pasture. 12-year-old Pekin, when Sabi not 12-year-old Pekin for Sabi not waiting for Sabi where money, say get for go school. You go to school, you can also watch cartoon. Now it's 12-year-old Pekin for they think about. But you reach a point where in Sierra Leone, the 12-year-olds now, these boys, these kids, then they think of how to be a man or how to be a woman. Then they take now they open themselves for travel, for car overseas. Is that the things we're proud of? At 12, Pekin don't begin think of how for left in country. It is left in parents, and that is if you get parents, because we also got a lot of orphans in that country. They go look at them market stable in the net, and then they sleep. All of these, what you for proud about? We get election now, we say, oh, change now, we'll pick the leader we feel say at this particular point in time is not perfect, but at least we go for mold this leader to what we want because we don't say get a vision. Dr. Samura Kamara. Then we see happy. Then tiff the election, the results, state today will not see her. Nobody no side the results there. And then when I did it live, I compared the ECSL's website, Sierra Leone's website, ECSL, the website, to Liberia and Ghana. Now ECSL take down their website. Then take down their website. It's not there to be found. Because they know what they're doing is wrong. And I don't know how Sierra Leone people in the city don't pay attention to these things and then let this slide through. What are we waiting for proud of? Waiting for celebrate? Waiting for glad for Sierra Leone independence 64 years? Waiting for glad for? Waiting for where green, white, and blue they pass up and down for say waiting? What is there to show? For a small, beautiful country like Sierra Leone, we get all the mineral resources you can think about. Like I did my live talking to Woody Maya earlier today. What is there to show about a country? It's nothing. Nothing to be proud of. We're not making any progress. Sierra Leone used to be this anthems of West Africa across the world. It used to be the country where people they want for the people they collect. You know? But now, what is there? People don't get access to clean drinking water. In 2025, 64 years after independence. What will they celebrate? What will they glad for? What is all this celebration for? So these are the fundamental questions we have to ask ourselves as citizens. Now we the people, now we get problem. Now we the people, they condone foolishness. Now we the people. But I'm happy with some of African countries, they don't wake up. They don't begin to understand, say enough is enough. When you take like the Burkina Faso, the people are standing with their leader, Ibrahim Traoré. They're standing up with them. We all get a responsibility for land and teach ourselves. Take you don't get money for give person, but what you get the knowledge and education, pass them on to the next. Now, that's why I make WhatsApp there, because with Facebook, so everybody go for access to Facebook for buy the data. But we get WhatsApp, we use them back effectively. And some of you, they all say, you can have Twitter with it, you can have WhatsApp with it, you can have Facebook with it, you can have YouTube with it. They all say diversified, as difficult as it is, but we're keeping up. Because I know say we people and deserve this. That civic education, I make we country backward, like I backward so. Some of them not going to accept, some not going to accept no matter what you do, some of them will remain useless. That is them. That is what they want to do, that's fine. But the majority of the population, the suffering masses, when I get access to politicians, they know exactly what I'm saying and they feel the pain. And they understand that the country deserves better and they have to move on. So we the people, now we get for hold their leaders, they are accountable. Now we get for stop for the support them foolishly. Now we get for the stop for the go and dance for them. Now we for the ask critical and tough questions. Where is the civil society organizations today? Where are the pastors there? Where are the imams there? And for going on a church and mosque, for go take money that people hand? What's in a role and responsibility as civil society activists for protect, defend democracy, for protect the peace of the nation? 64 years after independence, nothing to show. All of these people, we don't go backward. No progress has been made. People is suffer. The suffering is massive. But I just said I talked to her today. It don't late now. Let me self-settle. We're waiting for celebrate by this independence. Nothing. Nothing. So let's share this and pass them on, okay? Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good one.